Okay everyone, I want to take you through a quick rundown of the navigation through our MyLabs Plus course, and then after that you should be ready to get started on your own. So these first few tabs up here are hidden from you. That's what this little icon means. These are my tools, my gradebook, and how I manage the course. So the first tab, when you immediately log in, you should see an announcements page, and it should look something like this. I think the default is maybe only on 1 week, but since there is nothing to see this week before classes, I've expanded it a little bit so that we can see more of what's going on here. So what you should see basically on this page is little announcement icons anytime we have announcements that come up. So I have announcements preset. They should pop up every Saturday when the new assignments open and other times throughout the semester. And then down here you will see this is the original one that will pop up, and then they will pop up periodically. So you can always go back and look at the announcements. They stay logged here, so you can go back and look at prior announcements. And then the other thing you'll see on this page is when you have things that are due. And then what you can do, so you can see that your very first assignments are not due until the 19th. They will open on the 11th, this first Saturday, right before as classes start, and you get, that's the standard. You always get from a Saturday, you get a whole week into the next Sunday night to finish your assignments. And so we can click on there and we can see, what do I have left to do? So I completed the 1.1 homework already, and I still have these 3 homework assignments, my chapter 1 quiz and my chapter 1 essay quiz to do. So you can always kind of see right here a list of things that you need to get done that week. The second tab is a discussion board tab. These are just general discussion boards. I will be honest with you, I don't check them very often. It's more of a place to, there's 2 of them here. One is to report a problem. If you see something small, like a typo or something that's just misplaced or could be fixed in the course, please just leave me a little note here. Things that I could improve for the next semester just to make it better. If you see something that's a major issue, like you cannot open your homework assignment or there is a due date that is listed incorrectly, that's something you should email me about ASAP so that I can get that fixed, not just for you, but for the rest of the course. So things that are, if it's something that would keep you from being able to do your assignments that week, I want to hear about that immediately. This is more for, hey, Carrie, when you have time, this is something that could be fixed to just make this look a little bit better. There's also a general questions thread under here. This is more if you have a general question about something, or if you have something that maybe you want to ask another classmate to respond to, you can ask that in here. Again, for honestly, the better way to get a quick response from me is through email, but these are other options. You've already found the Start Here tab, so you have hopefully already looked at the syllabus. We're going through the course navigation here. You should watch the other videos on this page, and then after that, you should be really ready to get started in the course. Here's a copy of our syllabus. So again, you can always refer to this as needed. I definitely recommend printing at least that calendar, if not the whole thing though. Have that readily available for you. Next is the Getting Help tab. So there's some information under here about our tutoring center. Heartland Tutoring on campus is free. You can also get tutoring at the Lincoln or Pontiac centers and online tutoring. So there are some different links in here if you're having any kind of issues. If you have issues with Statcrunch specifically, you can always click on these, or different supports for different issues. Again, these are things to maybe check out first. If your question is not answered under here, then reach out to me immediately. Next is your gradebook. This is a really, really important tab that for some reason students overlook a lot. So as you do homework and quizzes and tests, this is where they pop up like as they're in progress or after you've submitted them. This is where you can always check to see what your current grade is in the course. and you can check to see how it's broken down, homeworks versus quizzes versus tests. So I completed one homework assignment and I got a 100 on it, so that's why I currently have a 100 in the course in this case. Under here is also where you get the review option. If you want to look at your prior assignments, so for instance, you took a quiz, you would like to look over what you missed so that when you take it a second time, you can do better. This is where you'd want to do that. When you hit this review button right here, it says you're in review mode. Anything you do here will not actually change your score. This is just how can I look at what I've done. And so I can either say, I just want to review. And so then I can go through and see what I said, whether I missed it or not. Green checks mean I got it right. Red X's mean it's incorrect. Those red X ones would be ones I'd want to go back and look at and see if I can figure out why is it wrong. Under this, I could send, if you cannot figure out why it's wrong, you can send me an email here and say, man, I am looking at this one over and over and I cannot figure out what I have done incorrectly. Do you have any insight here? This is what I tried. Things like that. So anyway, this gradebook area is how you review your assignments and how you see what your scores are on those. Then we have the Statcrunch tab. I will give you some more information on this one as we actually use Statcrunch. We don't need to use it for the first chapter, so this is more of a week 2 and beyond thing. Mostly what we always do here is we open, for the most part, we open Statcrunch, we open the website. Every once in a while we need to actually open a data set that's saved in our textbook. But mostly we open it here. This brings up this other program and we work in here. Okay, so that's one way you can access that. You can say open Statcrunch, and what you'll see is it looks very much like an Excel spreadsheet. We can load data or enter data into these, and then we can run different tests or make different graphs, whatever we want to do. So again, I'll explain a little bit more of that when we're ready to use it during week 2. The study plan is basically just a giant list of practice problems. You can go in here. Nothing that you do in this area counts for or against you. One thing I would suggest is going to all chapters, and then you can do any problem out of chapter 1 or chapter 2 or chapter 3. This is an exhaustive list of every question that's available for every chapter. So if you work in here, you're probably doing more than what's necessary, but definitely a good thing to do if you just want lots of extra practice. So again, this is all for you as you want or need it, but none of this is mandatory. All of our actual work that we do will be under the different weeks and the different chapters. So let's look at week 1, chapter 1. Every week has an introduction page that kind of explains this is what we're going to cover, what are our goals, what are the assignments that we have this week and when are they due. So during week 1 we have these 4 homeworks and these 2 quizzes. This is when they're due. Reminder of homework can be done late but quizzes cannot. Then we actually start into our sections. On every section page there is a link to the book if you would like to view the e-text, and there's a link to that specific study plan area as well. So there's another way to get to that study plan. Next, there is a link to download and print the lecture notes that will go along with the videos I have provided. So I provide my own, it's me speaking to you and filling out my notes, videos, and I absolutely encourage you to first print these out, print these pages. There's one for every section. So print out those guided pages, have them on the desk next to you, and then watch the video and fill out those notes as we go. It's the best way to mimic being in an in-class setting where you actually get to hear me explain things in my own words. And I can really tell who watches these videos and who doesn't, because you will find yourself using my phrasing for things and my explanations for things. And that's really the best way for you to learn this material. So I will always include one, sometimes there's 3 or 4 of these videos just because there's a lot of content in some sections. So watch all of those videos and fill out all your notes. After that, there will a lot of times be a supplemental material area. That's exactly what it is. It's supplemental stuff. Nothing below the notes is technically mandatory, but it's other videos that I have found online that I think are great, that explain things maybe in a slightly different way or a similar way as I would, or different formulas or ways to remember your formulas, notes, stuff that I just think is really helpful for you. So there's not necessarily anything in that supplemental area that you have to do, but I would always give it a good look over. There's a lot of times, this one's very short, section 1.1 is short, but there's a lot of times a lot of good stuff in there. And then you have a link to your homework assignment. So once you take all your notes and you get everything kind of down, you're ready to go, then you click on this homework and it will bring up that homework assignment. Now this one's going to bring up the first one, which is already done, but this is where you would normally go ahead and do your homework. Once you've done your homework for that section, then move on and you just repeat this process. Download the new lecture notes. This one's got a couple different lecture videos in it, and then some supplemental materials down here, and a link to another homework assignment. So again, you just repeat this process. So you can see how if you do one of these per day or 1 or 2 of these per day and spread it out throughout the week, it's not a lot of work. But again, you don't really want to be doing all of these on the weekend. It's too much. It's too much to try to squeeze in too fast. So notes, videos, supplemental materials, homework. Once you do all of your homework assignments, you are then ready to take the quiz. So it explains here you can take the quiz, you get 5 attempts, you can review your homework if you want to beforehand, and after you're done you should look at it in the gradebook. And then finally you should do your essay or attendance quiz. You only get 1 attempt at this one. It can't be turned in late. You can enter and leave it as much as you'd like to, but once you hit submit, then it is actually submitted and then I will be grading it. So a lot of times what I would suggest on these quizzes is that you open it up early in the week. Like maybe this is the first thing you open every single week. Read the prompt. Maybe print it out. Maybe write something down, copy and paste it somewhere so that you know what, these are, a lot of times these essays require you to kind of put together a big solution that incorporates a lot of stuff from all the sections. So if you read it ahead of time, then you can kind of sort of be creating your answer to this prompt throughout the week. And that can help it to go a lot faster, again, instead of just opening it on a Sunday night and all of a sudden realizing you have this big essay that you have to write. If you've kind of worked on it slowly throughout the week, then you're ready to submit it at the end of the week and you're good to go. But that's it. That's how everything works. So that would be the first week's worth of assignments, and then week 2 is a repeat. Week 2, we have our opening page. Week 2, we start Statcrunch, so there is some information about Statcrunch in here, and I will go through that again later. And then our sections, repeat, take your quiz until we get to the exam. Once we get to an exam, there will be an exam page that will detail all the necessary information about how to take an exam. You will have links to Statcrunch, links to practice exams, and links to the actual exam on that page. So all the information you need will be provided there. And then I've got things hidden again from you until we're actually ready for them. So Unit 1 is open immediately, and I will open the next units as we go. So this should have you ready. Watch the rest of the videos on this page and then go ahead and get started.